If your parrot is vomiting, do you actually know what you're looking at? You probably think you do. The food came back up. Something is wrong. Watch it for a day and see. But here's what most parrot owners never realize. There are two completely different things that look almost identical when your parrot brings food back up. One of them is a medical emergency that requires a vet visit today. The other is one of the most profound expressions of love and trust in parrot biology. Most owners have been treating both of them the same way their entire parrot-owning life. And the difference between knowing which one you're looking at could be the difference between a vet visit that saves your parrot's life and a disgusted reaction that breaks its heart. Let's start with the assumption that causes the most confusion. 1. Vomiting and regurgitation are not the same thing, not even close. When your parrot brings food back up, your instinct is to call it vomiting, because that's the word we use for the behavior in humans and most animals. Food goes down, food comes back up. That's vomiting. But in parrots, there are two completely separate physiological processes that produce this same visual result. And they originate from different parts of the digestive system, involve different muscular mechanisms, and mean completely different things about your parrot's health and emotional state. True vomiting in parrots is a forceful, involuntary ejection of stomach contents. It involves the muscles of the proventriculus, the true stomach, contracting against the parrot's will to expel material upward. It is the body's emergency response to toxicity, infection, obstruction, or severe systemic illness. It is not a behavior, it is a symptom. Regurgitation in parrots is a voluntary, controlled movement of food from the crop, a specialized storage pouch in the upper digestive tract, back through the esophagus and out of the beak. It requires no muscular distress. It produces no physical discomfort. And it is one of the most socially significant behaviors in parrot biology. Same visual output, completely different physiological origin. Completely different meaning. Avian veterinarians make this distinction the foundation of every digestive health assessment they perform. The question is never simply, did your parrot bring food up? The question is always, which process produced that result? Your parrot's body is telling you something specific, and the word you use to describe what you saw determines whether you hear the message correctly. That's not a vocabulary distinction. That's the difference between recognizing an emergency and recognizing an act of love. And by the way, there is one specific detail in the moment that tells you immediately which of these two things you are witnessing. Most owners miss it entirely because they've never been told to look for it. We will get to exactly what that detail is in just a moment. 2. What true vomiting looks like, and why it is always urgent. True vomiting in a parrot is one of the clearest signals its body can send that something is seriously wrong. Here is what to look for. The posture. A parrot that is truly vomiting does not look calm. Its body tenses, its neck extends and contracts in a pumping motion, its feathers may slick against its body, it may grip the perch more tightly or spread its feet for stability. The whole body is involved in a way that looks effortful and involuntary because it is. The material. True vomit from a parrot often appears undigested or partially digested and may have an abnormal color or odor. It may contain bile, which gives it a yellow-green tint. It may be watery rather than food-based if the parrot's stomach was empty when the episode occurred. The frequency and timing. True vomiting is not a single discrete event followed by normal behavior. It recurs. The parrot continues to show signs of distress between episodes. It may shake its head repeatedly. It may have material on its feathers around its head and beak from the force of the ejection. The accompanying signs. True vomiting in parrots almost never occurs in isolation. It is accompanied by other signs of systemic illness: lethargy, feather fluffing, reduced grip strength, changes in droppings, loss of appetite. A parrot that vomits once and then immediately returns to normal activity and normal eating is almost certainly not truly vomiting. The causes of true vomiting in parrots span a wide and serious range. Heavy metal toxicity, particularly from zinc and lead, which parrots can ingest from cage hardware, paint, and household objects, is one of the most common and most dangerous. Proventricular dilatation disease, a progressive neurological and digestive condition, frequently presents with vomiting as an early symptom. Bacterial and yeast infections of the digestive tract, intestinal obstruction, and severe nutritional imbalances are all causes that require veterinary diagnosis and treatment. If you are watching your parrot vomit right now, tense body, pumping neck, repeated episodes, material on the feathers, this is not a watch and wait situation. This is a call the avian vet today situation. That's not an overreaction. That's the correct response to a body that is telling you something has gone seriously wrong. 3. The detail that tells you immediately which one you're watching. This is the one I mentioned at the beginning. The single most reliable visual detail that distinguishes true vomiting from regurgitation in the moment you are watching it happen. Watch the head. A parrot that is truly vomiting moves its head and neck in an involuntary pumping or bobbing motion that it is not controlling. The movement is produced by the muscular contractions of the stomach, forcing material upward. The parrot looks like it is struggling with the movement rather than producing it. A parrot that is regurgitating moves its head and neck in a smooth, rhythmic, deliberate bobbing motion. It looks controlled, almost practiced. The parrot is not struggling, it is working. Moving food from the crop to the beak in the same smooth, intentional way a wild parrot would when it is feeding its mate or its chick. One movement is involuntary and distressed. The other is voluntary and purposeful. That distinction, visible in seconds if you know to look for it, tells you immediately whether you are watching a medical emergency or a social behavior. The moment you see the smooth, deliberate head bob, especially if it is directed toward you, your hand, or an object your parrot is bonded to, what you are witnessing is not illness. It is one of the most significant things your parrot can do. That's not a symptom, that's a declaration. 4. What regurgitation actually means. Now we get to the part that changes everything. In wild parrot flocks, regurgitation is reserved for 2 relationships and 2 relationships only: bonded mates and offspring. Wild parrots regurgitate food for their pair-bonded partner as part of courtship, pair maintenance, and the deepest expression of the bond between 2 birds. It is not a casual behavior. It is not offered to flock members generally or to birds the parrot has a neutral relationship with. It is offered exclusively to the individual that the parrot has chosen as its most intimate companion, the one it has decided to build its life around. Wild parrots also regurgitate for their chicks, feeding them the pre-processed food from the crop that young birds need before they can process solid food independently. This feeding behavior is the most fundamental expression of parental care in parrot biology. It is how a parrot says, "You are mine to protect and provide for." When your parrot regurgitates for you, smooth, deliberate head bob, food offered toward your hand or your face, calm and purposeful behavior before and after. It is running one of these 2 programs. It has either decided you are its mate, or it has decided you are its chick. Either way, it has decided that you belong to the innermost circle of its life. The one that gets fed, the one that gets provided for, the one that the parrot's deepest biology says is worth feeding from its own body. Researchers studying bonding behavior in companion parrots describe regurgitation directed at humans as one of the clearest behavioral indicators of deep attachment available. It is not triggered by hunger, not triggered by training, not triggered by proximity alone. It is triggered by bond depth. Your parrot looked at you and thought, "This one. This is the one I feed." In parrot biology, there is no higher declaration of love than that. That's not a disgusting accident. That's your parrot offering you the most intimate gift its biology knows how to give. 5. Why how you respond matters more than you realize. Here is the part most owners get wrong, even after they understand what regurgitation means, because the instinctive response to a parrot bringing food back up and offering it to you is almost universally the same: recoil. Say UW, move away, maybe laugh, maybe scold. And here is what your parrot's nervous system registers when you do that. It offered you the highest expression of bond that its biology contains, the food it prepared in its own body, the gift it reserved for its most intimate companion. And you moved away. Researchers studying companion parrot behavior note that repeated negative responses to regurgitation attempts can suppress the behavior over time, which sounds positive until you understand what suppressing it actually means. The behavior disappears not because the bond deepened, but because the parrot learned that offering this specific expression of love produced rejection. You do not have to accept the food. You do not have to allow your parrot to place regurgitated material on your hand or your face, but the way you redirect matters enormously. A calm, warm redirect, gently moving away while maintaining your vocal connection, offering a different form of interaction, tells your parrot that you received the message even if you didn't receive the delivery. A recoil, a loud reaction, or a scolding tells your parrot something very different. That the thing it offered was wrong. That the bond it expressed was unwelcome. That the most intimate gesture in its behavioral repertoire produced exactly the response it would produce from a stranger. Your parrot is not trying to gross you out. It is trying to love you in the only language its biology provided for loving someone completely. The way you respond to that moment either honors the language or teaches your parrot to stop speaking it. 6. When regurgitation becomes a concern. Regurgitation is normal and healthy when it occurs as a bonding behavior directed at you, a companion bird, or a bonded toy. But there are circumstances under which even regurgitation warrants attention. Excessive regurgitation, multiple times daily, directed compulsively at the same object, continuing even when the parrot appears physically depleted, can indicate hormonal dysregulation. Some companion parrots develop chronic reproductive stimulation that produces compulsive regurgitation behavior beyond what normal bonding behavior would account for. This is more common in species like cockatoos and Amazon parrots, and more common in birds whose environment includes chronic hormonal triggers. Long daylight hours, access to nesting sites, or an owner who provides extensive physical contact. Regurgitation, accompanied by any of the true vomiting signs we discussed, involuntary pumping, material on the head feathers, lethargy, loss of appetite, is not normal regurgitation. It is something that requires veterinary assessment regardless of how it is classified. And regurgitation that is followed by the parrot re-consuming the material, a behavior called re-ingestion, is generally normal. Wild parrots do this. It is not a sign of illness. It is the digestive system completing its intended cycle. The baseline question is always the same. Is your parrot otherwise normal? Eating normally? Active normally? Vocalizing normally? If yes, and the regurgitation fits the bonding behavior pattern, smooth bob, directed at a specific companion, calm before and after, it is almost certainly exactly what it appears to be. Your parrot is in love with you, and it is feeding you accordingly. And hey, if this changed the way you just thought about something your parrot has done to you, hit that like button and subscribe. That's how we reach more parrot owners who want to actually understand what their bird has been trying to tell them. 7. The moment your parrot chose you. I want to end here because I think it is the most important thing in this entire video. There was a moment, specific and unrepeatable, when your parrot decided you were the one. You may not have noticed it. Parrot bonding does not announce itself dramatically. It accumulates. Through proximity and shared routine and contact calls answered and mornings spent in the same space and evenings where the parrot settled near you rather than away from you. And somewhere in the accumulation of all of those ordinary moments, your parrot's biology did something extraordinary. It reclassified you, moved you from the general category of safe humans into the specific category of mine. The flock member that gets fed, the companion that gets protected, the one that gets the smooth, deliberate head bob and the food from the crop and all the weight of what that means in parrot social biology. You probably responded to that moment by saying EW and moving away. That's okay, you didn't know. Now you do. The next time your parrot offers you that gift, smooth bob, purposeful, directed at you specifically, you don't have to accept the food. But take a second before you redirect. Let it register what just happened. Your parrot, wired by millions of years of evolution to reserve this behavior for its most intimate companion, looked at you and decided you qualified. That is not nothing. That is everything. Drop a comment and tell me, has your parrot ever regurgitated for you? And how did you respond before you knew what it meant? I read every single one. And if your parrot bobs its head, rhythmically, repeatedly, sometimes at food, sometimes at you, sometimes at apparently nothing at all, each of those bobs means something completely different depending on the context. And one of them is connected to something we just talked about in this video in a way that will make everything click into place. That video will be up tomorrow. See you all then.